Today is February 20th, 2015. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian here at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library in Dix Hills, New York. We are interviewing Kenneth Gehlbach, a Korean War veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Ken, for being here today and participating in our project.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Ken, where and when were you born?
July 18th, 1933, in Brooklyn, New York.
And who were your parents and what did they do? What were their names, too?
My father's name was Robert Gehlbach. He was an engineer. And my mother was...
Her name was? Her name?
Mita Gehlbach.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a homeowner.
Homemaker.
Yeah, homemaker.
Okay, stayed home with the
Yeah.
kids. Okay, good. And did you have any siblings?
One brother.
What was his name? And
His name was Robert Jr.
did he serve in the military?
Yes, he did.
Oh, in what branch?
Navy.
Around the same time as you, or?
No, he was 7 years older than I was. So he went into the service about 1945, I think.
Oh, at the end of World War II.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
right.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
I was a draftsman for a Ford Instrument Company in Long Island City,
Oh. And which branch of the military did you serve in?
United States Marine Corps.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted. I didn't want to go into the Army.
Oh, is that why you
That's
enlisted?
right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
What happened when you departed for training camp and during your early days of training?
Well, training is boot camp.
Okay.
That's Paris Island,
Paris
South
Island.
Carolina.
Okay.
That was a very good trip down there. It took us about 1 day to get there
How did you travel in?
by train
Train.
from Newark, New Jersey. And we stopped over at Washington, D.C. They gave us a tour around there. And then we went down to Yamasee, South Carolina. I was a town right outside of the boot camp.
Okay.
And at that time, it was too late to go into Paris Island, so we had to stay overnight in Yamasee, and they gave us dinner there. Fried chicken, of course, in North Carolina, South Carolina. But the thing was, now I was from Brooklyn, Brooklyn Tech High School. I met a lot of colored people in Brooklyn, in high school, so it didn't bother me at all. When we got down in Yamasee, we had dinner there. The black guys had to sit in the kitchen, and we sat in the regular dining room.
That was the rule? That they
In
had to?
1953. So I was a little bit upset about that.
But to them it was a normal procedure?
I guess so,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you recall your instructors? And if so, what were they like in basic training?
They were very good. I can't think of the name right now. I have their name somewhere.
That's okay.
But, yeah. But they were very good. One guy was not too good. He was from Brooklyn, New York also, Sergeant Ryderberg. And he got kicked out because he was taking money from the guys and doing it with what he wanted with the money.
Without them knowing it?
Yeah. So he got kicked out, and I got a new drill instructor, which was very good. Because at the end of boot camp, the drill instructor he was from Maine, and we got a ride from him from South Carolina all the way up to New York here for after boot camp.
Oh.
You know, we'd get leave, 2 weeks leave.
Okay. Did you receive any specialized training in anything?
No, when I was a draftsman first to go into the service, and then after they interviewed me and said, "Do you want to be a draftsman again in the service?" I said, "Sure."
What did that involve? What did you have to do?
Drawings,
Of what?
roads, bridges, stuff like that.
So you learned that in high school, or you at
In
college?
high school, and then 1 year in Ford Instrument, drafting.
Oh, I see. Great. Now, how did you adapt to military life, including the physical regimen, barracks, food, social life?
Everything was very good.
Oh,
I mean, 2 years in the service, I had a great time. I really did.
you were in for 2 years?
2 years, yes. And
So after the basic training, you had 2 weeks leave,
right.
and then where did you
Then
go?
I came back to Paris Island, and I stayed there for about a week. And then at that point, they took us to Camp Pendleton, California.
Oh, by
By
plane?
yeah. They took us from Paris Island by DC-3, stopped over at Dallas, Texas for refueling, and then went to Camp Pendleton.
How long were you there?
In Camp Pendleton, almost a year.
Oh, so you stayed there.
I stayed there with the 7th
Battalion, 7th Battalion?
7th Battalion Engineers.
Is that on there?
Yeah, 7th Engineer Camp Pendleton, right here.
Okay. And what did you did drafting
Draftsman, yes.
while you were there?
Yeah, well, the guy interviewed me. He says, "I see you were a draftsman before." I say, "You want to do that again?" He says, "Sure, why not?"
Nice. So you were in your field. It was
Yeah,
good. Did they have other people doing that also?
right.
Uh-huh. Did you serve abroad at any time?
Yes, I went to 1st Marine Division, 1st Engineer Battalion in Korea.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So after the year at Pendleton, then
Then I
you...
went to Korea.
What are some of the memories you have of that experience, being abroad?
They were very good because we were north of Seoul, and at that time the war was over. 53, 54. They gave signed the armistice in 53, I think it was, late 53, July of 53. So I went there in 54.
For what purpose? I mean, if the war was over, why did they send...
Well, they just rotating troops.
Uh-huh.
So I just
Not combat
no,
anymore?
no combat. I had a combat training, but I was in a combat zone.
So you worked on drafting while you were there?
Right, right.
Did you witness it? There was no combat action while you were over
No,
there?
not at all.
So what exactly were your duties with the drafting? What did you have to...
Well, we rebuilt the roads, the bridges, the schools, everything they knocked down the year before.
So what you did was basically design... Reconstructing.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a couple of things we did. I was on guard duty one day, with my rifle, walking in the motor pool. That's where all the cars and trucks were.
Parked.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm walking around, and there's a fence on my little right. To the other side of the fence was the rice paddies, where the Koreans would be, you know. So I'm walking down, I see this Korean woman walking the other way, outside of the fence. So I said to her, I said, "Ani hashimika, Jingo." I think that was good morning, friend.
Ah.
You know. So she looks at me and says, "Good morning." It was very
Nice.
It was interesting.
Did you pick up a lot of Korean when you were there?
No, that was about all. That was about it.
Did you, when you had recreational time, what did you do?
Well, we took the Major's Jeep down to Seoul. When we went around to Seoul, Korea.
Now you stayed. What was it? Barracks were there? They built barracks for you, or how did? Where
I
did
lived in a tent.
tent?
Yeah. Well, and the Quonset hut was down below, and they had the tent was where I lived.
How many lived in the tent?
8 guys.
On cots or cots? You had cots?
Cots, yeah. Lived in a cot for a year. And then we went down to the Quonset hut, where you had to have you worked there all day long.
Oh, I
you know.
see. What about eating? Where was that? Food.
It was very good food down in the service.
Was there a separate
Separate
tent or
barracks.
separate barracks for eating?
Right. Right.
What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
Well, I think I didn't get to know anybody after the service. We didn't keep up with anybody.
Okay. Well, while you were there,
Yeah, I had a good friend, Bill Foley from Wichita, Kansas.
Huh.
So he spent time with him. Another guy was Tom Wright from Brooklyn, New York. So,
how did you stay in touch with family and friends back home while you were stationed overseas?
mail.
Mail. Was
Yeah.
it pretty quick?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
So when you were off duty, you went to Seoul mainly. Did you get to any other countries? You would have had to fly, probably.
Well, we did stop on the way over there to Korea. We stopped at Japan for a day. That was good,
Interesting.
interesting place.
What did the country look like when you got over there? Was there a lot of destruction?
Yes, it was.
Really?
I mean, Seoul itself there's only one building that could be lived in.
Now, the people who lived there, did the U.S. soldiers help build?
Excuse me.
Okay. Did they help? Do you help build their homes too, or how did that?
I guess they had homes, yeah.
Were they destroyed during the war?
Oh, they were. Most of all of them were destroyed, yes.
So we helped rebuild those too, or their homes?
No, we built mostly the roads and bridges.
What about, were buildings destroyed too?
Buildings were destroyed, yeah. Oh, yes.
Were you there when they were rebuilding all those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I helped build them.
Nice. What else about your stay in Korea that comes to mind? Anything?
Well, one experience where I was on the front gate. The front gate to let my in or out. I would have my white helmet on rather than a regular helmet.
Why?
45 on my side.
Why a white helmet and not a regular helmet?
Well, that was like the MPs.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So a Jeep pulls up, and I see a flag on him. He says, "It's a Brigadier General." So he's sitting in the back seat, and there's a guy who's in front driving. So my instructions were to do not let anybody in, whoever they are. Make sure they give you your
Identification?
identification and everything. So I'm asking the general. Here I am, corporal, asking the general. He got very pissed off at me.
Really?
Yeah.
But you were following the rules.
I know. Well, he did get annoyed with me anyhow.
So then, did he show his papers? Or
Yes, he did.
He did.
I said, okay, go ahead.
Was an American flag on their vehicle?
Yeah. With the 1 star, Brigadier General.
Oh, I see. So the war had ended before you got to Korea.
Yes.
Did you feel fairly safe over there? I mean,
Yes, I did, very, very much.
yeah. I mean, it was over. There was no fighting anymore.
No, there wasn't.
You were there for about a year,
But almost a year, yes.
and during that year, you didn't come home at all.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No.
When you did return home, how did you get home? By ship or plane
Well,
or?
From Korea, he went around the peninsula, back to Japan, and from there we got on an aircraft carrier.
Oh, so around Japan, that was all by ship. When you left Korea, you left on a ship?
When I left Korea, it went around the peninsula and into Japan. Then from Japan, they got on an aircraft carrier
But
to come home.
to get to the aircraft carrier, what were you in? A ship or a
Was it-
plane?
Yeah, no, a ship.
Ship.
Small ship.
Uh-huh. How many, how big was your unit that you were in? How many soldiers were in it? About?
Well, that was a battalion,
Yeah.
1st Engineer Battalion. Few thousand, anyhow.
Oh, but so you didn't all leave at the same time
No,
when you shipped out?
no.
How were you received by family and your community when you got home?
It was okay.
They were happy to see you, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. At that point, you weren't married yet.
No.
How old were you when you entered the service?
19.
So you'd finished high school.
Yes.
And how did you readjust to civilian life?
Very good. I went back to doing drafting.
You did, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you start college at all, or?
Well, I went 1 year in college, but Delphi,
Once you came home?
after I came home,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Studying what?
My first year was calculus and public speaking.
Uh-huh, okay,
Then I quit.
okay. You quit, okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And then what happened? What did you do? You went back to drafting business?
Yeah. That's what I've been ever since.
Really? With the same company, or?
Oh, no.
No.
Many different companies. I
Oh.
worked for Sperry. I worked for Fairchild for 5 years. Then I worked for Aurora Toys for 10 years.
Toys?
Yeah, you know the toys, slot cars?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you helped design those, or?
Yeah, that's so good. That was a good job. Very good job.
And for Sperry, what was that? That was
Sperry was
planes?
Marine Division.
Ah.
Drafting.
So each time was drafting, but you did different draft. You know, there were toys, and then there were military vehicles.
Oh yeah, it was different things.
All different things.
Right.
How did you know how to do all those different things?
You learn.
Have you remained in contact with or reunited with any fellow veterans since you left the military?
No.
No. Did you have the option to re-up? You were honorably discharged, right? So
Right.
you had the choice whether or not to stay in or not,
Right.
and you opted.
Well, I was interviewed before I left Korea. The colonel interviewed with me.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Well, we'd like to have you stay here, and we'll make you a sergeant instead of a corporal."
Oh.
I said, "Well," I don't know. I have a good job at home. Pays $80 a week. Remember, this is 1955.
Right.
I said, they pays $80 a week. So that's what I'm going to do. So when I came home, I went down to Ford Instrument in Long Island City.
That's where you had worked before you
Right.
enlisted. Uh-huh.
And I said, do you have a job back for me? He said, well, no, because we had a layoff when you were gone, so there's no openings for you. So I just went someplace else, you know.
Oh, it was fairly easy to find another job
Yeah,
in your field.
right.
Good for you. Why didn't you want to remain in the military? Because you thought you had a drafting
That
job?
was enough.
That was enough.
2 years was enough.
Okay.
It was the first interview I had in the service was, do you want to go to OCS? Because my IQ was good enough to go. I had a 126 IQ.
Is that officer candidate school? Is that it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I said, I don't know. He said, well, you'd have to go for 4 years rather than 2. I said, I don't think so. 2 years is enough.
Okay. So draftees went in initially for 2 years, usually?
I was in for 2 years.
I mean, enlistees. You
Right.
sign up for 2 years, usually?
Right, 2 years.
Is that the same as if you're drafted? Was it the same
I
amount
guess
of
so,
time?
maybe it was. I enlisted, and I spent about 2 months at Floyd Field in Brooklyn,
Doing what?
cleaning, doing the floors. One weekend a month.
Oh. When was this? Before you went for basic training?
Yeah,
Oh.
I was in the reserves at that time. They called it the reserves. And from January '53, January and February, I spent in Floyd Field doing odd jobs.
Oh, I see.
And then in March of '53, I signed up, went to boot camp.
Oh, I see. Okay. How do you think your military experiences affected your life?
I have no really a point notion about that because
Yeah.
I don't think it affected me at all.
Okay, good. And were there any life lessons you learned from the military? Anything, how to deal with certain things in life you learned from the military?
Not really, no.
Okay. How do you think your military service impacted your feelings about the military in general, or wars, or...
Well, military is a good thing to be in for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think so?
Make a man out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the war itself, I think we have to have wars, it seems like, to me, why, I don't know, but we have to have it sometimes. I mean, we've been in an awful lot of wars since the revolution.
Right, right. When you came back from Korea and then you found the job, how did you and your wife then meet up? When did you get married?
Well, I came back in 55.
Right.
We got married. I met my wife in 58.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Well, it was a beer party. There were a lot of girls and the guys from where I worked. We all got together. We went to a place in Jackson Heights. Was it Jackson? Flushing? She said Flushing. I said it was a day of infamy because we met December 8th, 1958, 55, 56, 1956, December 8th.
And so this was like a bar or like a restaurant?
It's a restaurant, yeah.
So you met in 56?
Right,
And when did you get married?
58.
58. And you have a family. You have children?
I have 2 children.
What do they do?
My son is working in Florida, Orlando, Florida. What does he do, Carolyn? I can't hear you.
Waterproofing? Waterproofing?
Pardon me?
Waterproofing?
Oh, waterproofing the ceilings. Yeah.
I see. He has children?
Pardon me?
He has children?
Does he have children? Yes, he has 4 children.
Nice.
They're mostly in college right now.
Oh, okay.
And my daughter, who lives in Long Island here, has 3 children.
Nice.
And most of them are all in college. One has graduated from Cornell.
Nice.
So,
Have you talked to them at all about your military service?
no, not really.
No.
No.
Is there a message you might like to leave for future generations who might watch this interview? Or let's say your grandchildren were watching. What would you like to tell them?
Nothing really.
Nothing.
No. No.
Okay. Now, is there anything you did during your service that you were proud of, or anything that you regretted while you were in the service that you did?
Regretted?
Regretted, or that you were proud
No.
of, that you accomplished?
I thought I was very good to be in the Marine Corps. That was where I wanted to be. And no regrets, really.
No
None
regrets.
at all.
Good. Was it really hot over there in Korea? Did it get cool? It just dawned on me. It's
Got cold.
totally different climate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It got cold.
Yeah, one day I was out walking on the guard duty. It was minus 5 degrees.
Wow.
It was cold.
So did you regularly have guard duty, or everyone alternated? Or how did that work?
I had guard duty once every few weeks or so. Then I got to be corporal. I got to be corporal, and I was corporal of the guard. I drove around in my Jeep.
Drove where? To do what?
Different stations there that I checked the guys that were on guard duty.
Okay. What were they guarding against, or was there a fear of someone infiltrating that shouldn't be there?
Yeah. Plus, you never knew when the Chinese were coming down the pike.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Is there anything we haven't discussed, or would you like to add something? Add anything that you can think of your time in service? You went in not as a corporal.
No, it was in private
Private.
first class.
And how long did it take till you became a corporal? How did they decide to promote you? Why? Is that a matter of just time and service, or
Yeah, just time, right.
time?
I got to be corporal when I was in Korea.
So that involves more responsibility, more pay, or what?
Wasn't more pay, no.
No.
I don't think so. And
So did they give you more responsibilities, or?
yeah, well, rather than regular guard duty, I was corporal of the guard.
Okay, so you didn't.
Drove around with a Jeep, checked the other guys.
That's nice. A little more responsibility,
Right.
probably, yeah. Anything else you can think of that you might like to add?
I really don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ken, for your service and for being willing to talk with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, too.